Hello and welcome to the Tyler G Show. I am Tyler G of Batman Figs on Instagram, and we have a lot to talk about today. And first, I want to thank sponsors of the show, uh, people that help make the show run. First, big thank you to Zavi, Zavvi. They're basically a pop culture king website. Anything you could ever want or need, they have, and I mean it, from anything from Blu-rays of movies, video games, action figures, which they have the new DC Direct Batman Adventures Continue available for pre-order. Those action figures. They have collectible coins. They got posters. They got shirts, clothing. So literally anything and everything you could want. If you are a pop culture fan or a fan of comics, heroes, anything, you go check out their website, and it's a good bet that they have it. And if you use code Tyler20 on any clothing items, you get 20% off. And if you use code Tyler10, you get 10% off store wide. So definitely check out Zavi, and I'll leave a link below in the description box. Skillshare. Skillshare is a huge resource that I did not know about until they contacted me, but I highly recommend Skillshare for anyone that wants to learn anything, because it's just a huge video community where they have things available such as photography, cinematography, visual storytelling, things like that if you're interested in photography and that sort of thing. If you're not, they have different things, like they have cooking, they have how to crochet, they have anything you can want. And if you use the link that I'll put below, you get 2 free months to check it out and see if you like it. And if you don't, you can always feel free to cancel. And if you do, you're welcome for the first 2 months for free. But it's a great resource, and I learned a lot from using it myself. So definitely check out Skillshare. Bigbadtoystore, where they have all the newest and latest toys available for pre-order at all times. They'll even send you an email letting you know what's up for pre-order, so that you will know right away what the newest toys available are. I'll leave a link below for Bigbadtoystore as well. They are a great resource. Hiya Toys, they have a lot of new stuff coming out soon, and the stuff that they have that they're showing on the Bigbadtoystore available for pre-order looks pretty cool as well. And Hiya Toys they are a 3 3/4 inch, basically a 4-inch toy line, and they have as much articulation as like a Mayfix or SH Figure Arts. And I have a few pictures on my Instagram, so you can check those out, and I'll leave a link to Hiya Toys Instagram as well. Readysetz is a diorama foldable set where it folds up and also sets up extremely quick, and it has an array of rooms, a bunch of different possibilities for shots. I use them on a regular basis because just the amount of different shots you can get for just one of their sets is a great deal, and I highly recommend checking them out, so I'll leave a link below as well. Soap Studios, they have a new Dark Knight trilogy of Batman coming out. I think it is from the Dark Knight Rises style Batman, and they are a soft goods Mezco type action figure company, and I have a lot of action figures from them. In fact, here's one right here. Sorry for the people listening on the podcast. It's the Bruce Wayne. It's a soft goods from Batman Begins when he's training in the mountains with Ra's al Ghul. And yeah, they're a great company, great action figures with soft goods that other companies aren't making. So like this, no one's made a Bruce Wayne training with Ra's al Ghul action figure yet. And the fact that they did it in a soft goods style, it's pretty cool, and I'm really looking forward to their new Batman, which I should be getting pretty soon whenever they send it. So I'm looking forward to reviewing that and letting you guys know what I think about that. So, Undone Watches, great watches. I'll leave a link below to that. They have a DC and Batman line of watches that you should check out. And also, I'll be talking about these a little bit more, but Toy Snap, Bigbadtoystore.inc on Instagram, who we had on the show before. He is a toy photographer and a diorama builder from Ireland. He has new pieces available that he sent out for samples for me to show off to you guys, and I'm pretty impressed by them so far. And I have a new picture up. It's my most recent one, so if you want to check out that, I'll also leave a link to his Instagram below. So that's for the sponsors, and we have also, believe it or not, we have more coming, more sponsors and more stuff coming that I had to show you in terms of like diorama stuff and new figures in general. So I'm looking forward to showing you that, and thank you to those people that trust me to bring you that stuff. So thank you to all the sponsors. Now on to toy news. In terms of new announcements, one funny one that I really am enjoying is the new Jurassic Park Amber Collection announcements. They announced a couple new dinosaurs. I'm not a big dinosaur person, so I don't know. Well, I'll try to pronounce the name. The Dilophosaurus, the one that spits acid at Newman. And they even have his name is Dennis Nedry, which is funny because if you switch the R and the D, it would be nerdy. But they have a Newman action figure available, and it even comes with different heads to where he has acid on his face, and he comes with the Barbasol where he was hiding the amber, and it even comes out where you could have like the secret stash thing part come out. It's a pretty cool figure. Probably gonna have to get it. Not even probably just gonna get it. So that's a cool new announcement. Also, Hiya Toys showed off their new Kick Me spray painted RoboCop, and it's supposed to be one of the new San Diego Comic-Con exclusives. And along with the Comic-Con exclusive that was announced also was a Diamond Select Negative Suit Spider-Man from the Spider-Man video game, the PS4 game. And what else did we get? The Mayfex showed off their new Mandalorian silver, like Beskar, I don't know, Beskar armor, and it comes with the Baby Yoda, which is pretty cool. They also have on Bigbadtoystore, they have the NECA Terminator 2 Judgment Day Ultimate Arnold, but that's also been at it's been at like Walmart's and Targets for the past couple of weeks. And I don't know if that's an updated, redone version of the one that's been out, that they had come out a few years ago, and they just keep re-releasing it or not. But I like that they keep re-releasing. At least they keep re-releasing the best version of the character from Terminator 2. But in terms of other figure news, not too much. Nothing really from McFarlane. Just more promo pictures of the White Knight, both Batman and Joker. I'm seeing people are starting to get their figure arts Harley Quinn from Birds of Prey, and I don't know if I'm gonna get that. I was gonna get the McFarlane version, but they showed that they're gonna release a version, but when the time came, nothing happened. So I don't know. Maybe I'll have to look at the SH Figure Arts Harley and see if that's something I'm wanting to get. Maybe if the price is right. I haven't looked. I don't feel like looking right now either, really. But in terms of new figures for myself, I finally got new figures. And after a couple weeks of hunting, I finally got the Arkham Asylum Joker and Batman. Now, I saw people getting these figures the last couple weeks. I didn't know if they got them as samples or if they were finding them at their stores. From what I saw and what it appeared to be, they were finding them at their stores. So that's why I was doing the hunting and searching all over, hoping I could find them. However, when I did find these, I only found the Batman first, and I had to ask one of the employees at Target if they knew if they had a Joker, if they'd be willing to look. And right when I asked him, he knew right away he had one. He was just under the shelf. He pulled it out, and he gave it to me, no problem. And then I went to the cashier to check out, and they went to scan it, and it didn't want to scan. And that is every toy collector's worst fear, seeing that it's not available for sale. And the lingo, it's called register lock, and it said not available till June 4th, which that would be today. Just today I'd be able to get them. So if you weren't able to find them in your Targets before, Walmart's before, today I guess is the official day that they're supposed to be out on shelves and available to be sold. So how did I overcome this obstacle, you ask? How did I get these figures even though I was not supposed to have them? I simply went and got a Superman, the comic version, and just had the employee scan it twice, and have that count as the Batman Joker, and I just took those figures instead. Now it may mess up the Target's inventory, but to that I say, don't have the figures out and available for sale if they're not available for sale. And even though the Joker wasn't, technically the Batman was. So what do I think of the figures overall? I love them. In fact, they might be my favorite McFarlane figures so far. The Batman, initially I wasn't too keen on, didn't really care for, but I absolutely love it. The more I look at it, the more I take photos of it. The fact that I started collecting a little bit after the Arkham line from the video game from DC Direct came out, I missed out on a lot of those, and by the time I started collecting those on the aftermarket had gone up like crazy, so there's no way I was going to be able to collect those. So hopefully McFarlane release a whole line of Arkham video game, because I would get them. So far I'm loving them. In fact, another reason why I enjoy these figures so much, especially McFarlane wise, is because these came with the most accessories so far. They didn't come with extra hands, but they came with this grapple launcher. Batman came with a clothes batarang, which you can use for different poses. Whatever, he's about to take someone out with that. Like punch him with it. He has an open batarang for throwing. He even has a grenade, a gas grenade, and it has 3 different paints on it, so they even cared enough to paint a grenade. It has some copper gold paint, some silver, and I think the black's just the base, but the fact that there's 3 different colors on it at all is pretty amazing. Then you have Joker, who they did the suit alone. I'm sorry for people listening, I'm showing him off on camera. The suit alone has so much detail. Yeah, I'm not doing too much justice showing it here. If you want to see pictures, please go check out my Instagram. But the suit alone has so much detail, and they did a good job in making the suit look like it has thread, and if it just looks like it's fabric, which is amazing. And the articulation they put into it, the hair, the face sculpt is good. Then they have accessories, and Joker, they didn't skip on his accessories either. He comes with a gun, which he's holding right here. Just take my word for it, those that are listening on the podcast. And then he comes with 2 of, if you've ever played the game, these are probably the most iconic things in the game outside of that Batman and Joker themselves. It's the thing that's most throughout the games, and it's the stupid Shattering Teeth. And they're not stupid. I'm just being, you get annoyed hearing them after playing it to like all hours of the night every day for a week straight. But I love having these 2. I might have just bought the figure just for these accessories alone, these teeth, because it's just a staple of Joker. You don't get it too much. I mean, I think the last figure I had that came with like a Shattering Teeth like this was the first Mezco Joker, and I mean, I had to pay $90 to $100 to get a figure just with 1 Shattering Tooth thingy, and this one comes with 2. It's only a $20 figure. But the figure itself too, I have a whole list. I have, the day I bought these figures, I came up with so many ideas came flooding to my brain that I did something I normally don't do, and I just sat down and wrote a list of photo ideas I could do with these guys, and I have to fight myself just to not bust them out in a row and break them up. But I enjoy these figures a lot, and just the fact that they bring a flood of ideas. The accessories bring a flood of ideas. So highly recommend this, and I really do hope McFarlane continues to stay at this level of sculpt, articulation, paint, and accessories. Because right now, with these two, it's really high their level of quality. I'm really impressed by this, and if they get any better from this, then kudos to them, because I would feel like this is like a Mezco to Mafex level, just this Joker alone, just in terms of detail. It's like a Mafex level detail, articulation. It's not as fluid. It's more of like, because if you have a McFarlane, it's more of like a ratchet style. You could hear it. But it's their quality's up there, especially for $20. You can't beat it. I know it's like 25 at GameStop, but overall it's in the 20-25 range. Now, today's review on some other figures, since I just broke down those. And if you want to see more of a review, you can check out, even on this YouTube page, I did an in-depth review of these guys. Today's action figure review for the BTS wave is going to be from, well, it's going to be 1 2-pack, and I'm only going to show you one figure because it's the Mad Love 2-pack. It came with a little heart, and I believe it came with a Mad Love comic. I think it did. And of course, it didn't come with really any accessories. What you see here is what you get with Harley, and it is cool that she comes with this variant version. Joker was a re-release of the first Joker, just the regular smile, no accessories, just Joker. They didn't even, but originally they were going to give him a tux, a black tux, to make it more like the Alex Ross artwork where Harley and Joker dance, but they didn't end up going with that. They just re-released Joker. So I mean, outside of her, I give the pack a 7 out of 10 because they put the comic Mad Love with it, and anyone that's just getting introduced to Joker, Harley Quinn, or the animated series, I would say that's a cool 2-pack introduction into that world. So I'd say 7 out of 10 for the Mad Love pack. And you gotta just love the Harley. That's basically why I got it. The next figure that was released is this new Batman Adventures Riddler. Now, this figure really boggled my mind when it first came out, because instead of releasing, at this point they hadn't released the Great Ghost or original Scarecrow or BTAS Two-Face, and at that point I was like, why are they releasing this figure when he was barely in one episode, which was Over the Edge, where he's barely seen on that talk show. He was in a Superman animated episode, but it bothered me that he was barely in one episode and we got a figure of him when we could have gotten so many other different figures. However, looking back in retrospect, I am happy that we got this version, especially now that we got key rogues made in the BTAS version. I am a little bit more accepting of this figure. Plus, it's like a Batman Forever Riddler made in a Bruce Timm style, so I don't mind it. This figure I would give a 7.5 to 8 out of 10, mainly because the rarity or the oddity that this figure was made, even though he wasn't even barely in the series. I think that alone makes it go up in ranking. And now, this figure is one near and dear to my heart. And it's because back in the day, McDonald's had Happy Meals, and they released a Batgirl figure that was exactly like this. And I had it, and I absolutely loved it. And I don't know why. I don't know if it's just the colors or what, but I'm so happy that they made this version of Batgirl. And originally they made the new Batman Adventure first, and they made that one better articulation. Like this one only has hinge ankles, just like the Riddler. Just like, well, this Harley doesn't even have ankle things at all, so this is hard to stand, and that's another reason this gets a low ranking. But this Batgirl, she's cool. She came with a Batarang, which is accurate because Robin gave her a little Batarang at the beginning of Shadow of the Bat Part 2. And not the best articulation, but overall it does look exactly like she does look in the animated series. And I'd have to give this a 10 out of 10. Does she get a lot of accessories? No, but because she didn't, in the show she didn't have a lot of accessories. She was just becoming Batgirl. So, it's accurate. Now, what's weird is after this Riddler, we didn't get this Batgirl for a little bit. Then after this Batgirl, things kind of went hush-hush on the DC collectibles front. A lot of people were wondering whether or not that was the last figure. And this is where the rally cry really went up for the original Two-Face, the original Scarecrow with the red outfit, Grey Ghost, and that sort of thing. So next week we'll get into all of that, but this whole time frame of DC collectibles or DC Direct was an interesting time, especially for fans. Now, I said I was going to get into this a little bit, and I almost skipped over it. But again, I do want to thank my good buddy, all the way from Ireland, who sent these out. And the shipping alone, I mean, that doesn't get lost on me. The fact that he had to pay for shipping to send these to me all the way from Ireland. But Toy Snap Inc., he is starting his own like diorama piece business, and I believe it's at a link in his story. And these pieces, again, I don't want to just gloss over them. They're sturdy. They have a good density to them. They don't feel like they're gonna like break if you just move them the wrong way or just drop something on them, or even if you drop them, it feels like they'll last. So, excuse me. I want to thank him for taking time out of his schedule to make these and to think of me that I could possibly help. And after receiving them and not knowing what to expect, to be honest, I really do think that they're cool. You can tell that he put a lot of love and care into them. Like even on the side, there's like 4 panels of the wood sticks in there. Like you can tell he used hot glue sticks or hot glue. You can tell he used popsicle sticks or something like that to make it. And he put a lot of layers on that, so it's sturdy. It's not gonna break easy. He didn't get lazy and cheap out. So I do think that if you are someone that's looking into getting some pieces like this to add to a diorama, to an extreme set, something like that, check him out. And again, I'll have a link in my description box below. Okay, so this week's BTAS episode review is Blind as a Bat. It is a Penguin episode, and it is the 59 to be produced, and it was the 54th to air. Now, the way we start off with this episode is we are like, it almost feels like it's at an air show, and I have a good, strong knowledge of air shows because I live in the Palmdale, Lancaster area of the Los Angeles County area. So I live about 45 to an hour north of Los Angeles, and in the area where the B-2 bomber was invented and all of that. So my dad even works at the base. So have a good knowledge of air shows, and this is what this looks like at the beginning. And it is Wayne Tech doing a demonstration of a prototype military helicopter, which that in of itself is weird to hear. Wayne Tech dealing in weapons. It almost sounds like a Tony Stark sort of thing. But Bruce Wayne is there himself in attendance, and it is for the Raven X111, and they're showing off all the weapon system and all its abilities, and that includes its a silent running engine. It has a cloaking device. It makes it invisible to any radar and sonar, and it has a revolutionary ZVF sensor package, which uses computers in its system to sense the data and produce a visual images, basically allowing it to work in total darkness. So it is a very advanced piece of machinery, and Bruce Wayne even says himself he's very impressed, but he doesn't know how he feels about Wayne Tech producing weapons. And then, of course, shortly after he says that, the plane starts attacking the grandstands and all the people in attendance and starts shooting. Luckily, people seem to be okay, and not too much is going. Not too many people are injured. And then one lady, after Penguin announces that he himself is the one that's hijacked the plane, there's a woman in the line of fire, and Bruce goes to save her, and he does. And then when he lifts his head up to look and see what's going on, there's an explosion that affects his eyesight and basically renders him blind. And he collapses, and Alfred goes over to pick him up and see what's going on with him. And that's when he says, "Hey, I need to get out of here. You need to take me home. Can't go to the hospital because I don't want everyone to know that I'm blind." I remember as a kid, this really was like, what the heck? Bruce Wayne's blind. So then in the next scene, we see an old series regular, and the only other person that Bruce would trust in a time like this, and the only person that is a doctor that Bruce would trust, especially, and that's Leslie Tompkins. She's at Wayne Manor, and she's checking out Bruce and his eyes, and she basically says that he's not permanently blind, but there is some damage to his vision, and that if he does anything that could add further damage, aka if he does any Batman activity, then his blindness can be permanent. And so he tries to rest, and while he's resting, Penguin is running amok in this Raven X111, this helicopter, and he's doing all this running amok, and Commissioner Gordon is putting up the bat signal, and he's out there with Mayor Hill and Harvey, and they're waiting, but no response from Batman. And since Penguin's realizing there's no one's really stopping him or trying to stop him, no Batman, he shoots and collapses the bridge. And so once Batman hears this, he gets a little bit more pissed off, and he says, you know what, I'm just going to stop Penguin at all costs. So he gets Leslie and he coerces her into helping make this device that works a lot like sonar and a lot like the system on the Raven helicopter, which allows Batman to see based on sonar imaging. It even it wires it to his brain even, and even though he has this ability to see, Leslie still warns him, you need to take it easy, and even though you have this, you can still mess up your eyes, and it needs to run on a battery pack, so it needs to have some power. It's very limited if you go outside of a power range. And so Batman, of course, uses his Batwing, his Batplane, and he is able to plug in the sonar vision aid apparatus that he's using to the Batwing, and that gives him enough power. But while he goes after Penguin and the helicopter, Penguin's able to shoot down the Batwing, and in doing so, he leaves Batman with a limited amount of power to see. And once Batman's grounded, he has to take on a Penguin thug, because it's always a thug. You can't just take on the bad guy right away. So Batman has to take on a thug, and he uses what's left of the power in the battery to take out the thug. After that, Penguin's able to deduce that, Batman, he's not at the top of his game and he can't see. So he uses this to taunt Batman, even get in his head. He's like, "You're as blind as a bat. You couldn't hit the broadside of a barn, let alone this bird." And he just continues to taunt him, and he even gets close to pushing him into molten steel. But Batman he's hanging on to a water valve, and he feels the water hit him, so he realizes that. And so he turns the water valve, allowing the water to hit the steel, creating a lot of steam, which causes Penguin to cough. And so, again, because of sound, not sonar, but because of sound of Penguin coughing, Batman's able to find out where he is, and he's able to stop Penguin. And even though Penguin was at his most physically threatening in this episode, it still wasn't enough to stop Batman. And then we see that the next day, after all this, Leslie's back at Wayne Manor. She's taking bandages off Batman's eyes, and they're able to see that. They're able to. I don't want to say see, but I guess I got it. They're able to see that Bruce's vision is perfectly fine, and that is Blind as a Bat. Penguin episodes never tend to be too deep or too exciting, but I feel like that in terms of Penguin being a physical threat, this was the episode that makes him about as physically threatening as he can be, and it requires Batman having no vision, which I think that's funny, especially because birds in general are supposed to have good vision. So it's funny that Penguin's episode, yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. See, even when you try to get too deep with the Penguin episode, you can't. So that's the Blind as a Bat episode review. I don't know what the next episode is. I'll have to wait till next week. And I was gonna do a how-to and show a visual demonstration, but with it's just been a crazy week, a lot with the news and the media and all that. So I wasn't feeling too up to doing a how-to demonstration. Plus, I just wasn't really thinking what I could do in terms of visually showing anything. So I just decided that I'm going to say that you need to be creative in what you do. I know that if you have, say you have like a NECA street diorama, it's tempting to just want to do a ton of photos on that. And I mean, you can do a lot of photos on that. There's a lot of different combinations of sets you can do. But even after a while with that, even if I was doing like 2 or 3 or 5 photos and they look completely different and it was on the NECA street dial, I would still kind of be like, okay, I need to mix it up. And so for that sort of thing, just don't be afraid to get weird or think of random things. Like for some of my photos that I enjoy the most and that people think are really cool, it's just the fireplace, the fire behind it. But people think I'm doing some crazy fire setup. Nah, it's just the fireplace. And even for some creative photos where recent ones where I had all the villains of BTAS in a circle with Batman in the middle. That's not a crazy dial or anything, it's just the garage floor, and I'm taking a top-down picture. And then even when I was making a pizza the other day and opened the oven, and I was looking inside, and it looked like with the proper lighting, you could do like a sci-fi image. I might have to try to do that and see if anyone could guess what the inside is for those that didn't listen to this podcast. But don't be afraid